This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Today, the question we have is about love. Teens and young people even kill themselves or kill someone when they face rejections or heartbreaks. How to make them understand these feelings and how to make them realize that life is much more precious than all these things they have come across. It's interesting, such questions are asked only by adults. No teenager will ask this. No teenager will feel that their love or their life is precious. This is exactly how a teenager must be. We have already talked about various situations, from birth till age 7, physical movements are the need to help the child grow. So you can never make a child under 7 really sit for more than a few minutes. And if they do sit for longer time, then it's a sign of some problem, some fear, or some disease in their body. A very, very few percentage of children could be very phlegmatic kind and they will just sit. But otherwise, predominantly, the children are supposed to be moving around. And from change of teeth, which is around 7 years of age until puberty, emotional turmoil is how children grow. That's the need. I mean, if they seem very saintly, very serene, very matured, it's nice to handle them. I mean, we don't even have to handle, they're just managing themselves. But are they truly becoming holistic individuals? When we go through ups and downs, we realize life is not the same. Like Gautam Buddha was protected from all the ill that was happening around him. But did we really protect him? Because that's how they're supposed to grow. Otherwise, they become one-sided again. So the predominant way in the second stage is going through this love-hate relationship. They go through those polarities. And just sitting and telling them, hey, you know what, life is very precious, won't work. And that kind of thinking happens in the third stage, where you can discriminate, where you can think, oh, is life better? Should we live? What's the worth of living? I mean, we know people well past their teenage also commit suicide. And this is another reason where I keep telling, we may have grown up in the physical age, but have we really matured? Or are we stuck in the second stage only? Many of us are just stuck in the second stage, even though we may look older and matured, whatever. We really have not matured. We really have not become wise. But that apart, second stage, yes, they have no discriminatory abilities developed. Their prefrontal cortex in their brain, which is the seat for deciding good versus bad, right versus wrong, principles, laws, human values, morals, none of that has actually developed to that extent. Child may be capable of saying, I need to study for my exams, else I may fail. Or I need to be nice to this person, else they may not be my friend. That kind of understanding children have, but they really don't have an understanding. What if I fail? That long-term vision that I may not be able to get a good seat in a seat in a good college. I may not be able to secure a good job. I may not be able to live like a decent life. None of this goes through that. And we always use that as a weapon even for younger children. See, if you don't study well, then you will be a shoemaker or a coolie or whatever. We create all those um, opposite of dignity of labor. So somewhere we have to understand the requirement of the children growing in the second stage, 7 to 14. Infatuation, attraction to opposite gender is quite natural. It's more of a natural phenomena rather than the love per se. Again, we see this, even people older than supposedly adults beyond 21 also have these attractions, even when they're married and things like that. So it's nothing to do with the social construct. But for a child between 7 and 14, it is just the hormones changing in their bodies, and that is just the way it is. They can't think beyond it. They're unable, they're incapable of thinking. They just don't have that instrument to think. It is like, you don't have a watch on you. You cannot see where the sun is in the sky, whether it is dark or daylight, and you have asked for time. What time is it? You may have your eyes, you may have your brain functioning, you just cannot tell time if you're within the four walls, white walls. They have done that experiment. White walls. You will not come out, you will not talk to a person. Everything is white in that room, and people go crazy for it. Was a 3-day experiment. They have to stay there for 3 days, and they couldn't. They just the whole system went crazy. I mean, this was done with adults. Something like that happens with teenagers, with adolescents. They just don't have that ability. So any amount of advice, any amount of examples, so that girl ran away with that boy, and what happened? Oh, this boy just died because he did not even get. I mean, he had got 98%. He did not get the first rank in medical school, but he got a medical seat. But still, he committed. All these stories exist around us, and that only indicates to us where we have not been instrumental adults in the child's life to make them see what life is. We just assumed things were happening. We didn't take them out. We didn't discuss when they were not yet. Of course, I'm not going to discuss what love is with a 6-year-old in the way I should be discussing with a 16-year-old. I would not do that. But then I would not protect this child from what he is supposed to do when he's 6-year-old. Trying to dress on his own, trying to assert, trying to tell him, I don't want to do homework now. I don't like to write, and I would rather play. I did not set a rhythm for the child. So somewhere children lost trust on us as adults. We were not in integrity. We said one thing but did another thing. I applied one rule to my first child, another to my second child because second was more adamant. I applied one rule to myself and one rule to some other person. They heard me talking, they heard me acting, action, inaction. So somewhere they decided that I wasn't worthy of imitation. I wasn't trustworthy. And that is when the children go more inward. Who do they trust now? So they start feeling these hormonal changes around the age 9, like pre-adolescence, and they feel kind of weird in their bodies. They don't know what is happening, and they hear something, they watch something on the movies, they hear their friends discuss about something else, and they're confused. But who can they go to? Nobody. Because we as teachers or we as parents never cultivated conversation as a way to handle these things. Because they never saw us conversing. And there was, again, I was listening to a podcast the other day. He is a very established neurosurgeon and a therapist and experimenter, experimental psychologist. And he was telling, even when we did not raise the child well because of our own problems, our own traumas, but if the child will see me putting an effort to become a better human being, me, not advising them, and even if my child is 25, 30, 35, 40 years old, there is a transformation that will happen in the child and in the parent-child relationship. So it's always like I need to begin working on myself. How can I connect with this teenage who is going through this trauma, of thinking that infatuation is the long lasting one and that person is my life partner when we clearly know it is not. To some extent, child has to go through this with a confidence that they can come back and have a conversation with us as to why this may be appropriate or not appropriate. Knowing that there is an adult to fall back on despite all the mistakes I make. Knowing that the adults around me also made similar mistakes and they are doing some things to overcome and grow as a human being. Knowing that I have freedom to explore within certain limits. Knowing that I can reach out and I will be accepted no matter what is what will give a healthy environment for the child to restrain themselves, to think a bit before they act, because that thinking ability is not awakened fully yet. For the first time, I think I talked about, every 3 year change. So every third year, they go through this crisis. 12th year is one of those crises they go through. 15th year, they go through. There is a splurt of ability to think that's growing every third year. And it's supposed to be mature and solid when we are 21. But again, there is growth 24th year, 27th year. Each time there is third year transition. There is growth at a different level. So child has that thinking that's continually awakening. But am I there to kind of direct the child that this is the right way that you can take and explore, I'm not going to tell him this is the way you must take, because I'm also stuck in second stage. You must remember that. I'm driven by uh, the conditions of society, the conditioning that has happened on me, my fears, my judgments. I'm not pure yet. I'm also stuck. And who am I to be telling somebody that they're doing it wrong? Look around, and we have so many such examples with problems in adults or so-called adults. And now, where can the child look up to? There is this huge rush of hormone changes that's happening in me. I don't know why I'm getting attracted to this opposite gender. I don't know why I want to touch, feel, and be in their company. I do not have the ability to think that this person is coming from this class, or my life is at stake, or my life is more important than anything else in this world right now. I do not have that filter. But if I do have a relationship with a predictable adult, a trustworthy adult, who I can go back to and just plain outright say, you know what, I have a crush on this man or boy. And I don't know why. I don't like sometimes what he does, but keep going back to him. And when I'm away from him, I feel very miserable. And I feel really good when I'm around him. But I know he doesn't treat me well. And he is also going with someone else. And I'm jealous of that. I don't know why. This never happened to me earlier. This doesn't happen with other boys. It happens only with this. Can a child talk to us like that? As parents, as teachers? We have not created that environment where the child can openly speak up about what's happening to them. And when they do, you don't have to do anything, just listen. You say, yeah, that's hormones. I understand. But is that bothering you a lot? How can I help you? That's it. Because you really can't help, you cannot change their hormone system. That's part of natural development. But the child knows, okay, come what may, I can go tell my parents, tell my teacher, tell the trustworthy adult, and I will feel good. I mean, they're also feeling good in your company when they can share because they have poured it out. They're not bottling up that energy, trying to hide, trying to escape. Most of the suicides, most of the runaways, most of the ill behavior happens when the child feels that there is no escape and they don't know how to deal with it. And most of these escape routes gets closed by the conditions we put on the children. Oh, you are my best child. And we'll be telling the whole world, oh, I can trust my daughter so very much. She can never ever do anything bad, anything that I could be ashamed of. Oh, you are the one who will keep up the family respect. How could you do this? And how could you? No way you can marry a person from another religion. I know several cases. There is actually one of the persons I know. She's been in love with this person since her teenage years, and the parents are haven't accepted that relationship. And she didn't run away. I mean, she had respect for parents and she waited and waited. And the boy is also waiting. She's almost 34 now. She's been liking this man maybe in her high school years, let's say 17, 18. And the parents would rather stay a spinster than get married to this person. And the boy has also stayed. He is not marrying anybody either. Now, this is where the parents misuse the trust, the respect the child has on them. And she's going to probably remain unmarried the rest of her life or wait for her parents to pass away and then she can marry this man. Look at all the examples and look at the way we behave ourselves. We have some of those behaviors, expectations, demands in us too because we love our children. It is out of great love. I do not want my child to make any mistakes. I do not want my child to suffer. I do not want my child to go through any heartbreaks, and I want a perfect life for them. And I will do anything for my child to remain intact and unhurt. Then it is like saying, hey, seed, remain a seed. Do not sprout. Sprouting is a painful process. You have to soak in water. Then you have to break that outer covering. Then you have to come out. No, 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 no. Please stay safe. We will never let the child grow because of our own great love and our fear that our child will be hurt. You can choose how you want to deal with your child. And of course, children are helpless. Even though they love me, they don't love you, they love me. They cannot choose me, especially when they're children, to help them. And you will come back fighting with me saying, who are you to mess around with my child? You see all these examples around. Just keep looking, keep looking. Don't wait for your child to go through that situation. It is just that, am I super possessive? What is my hidden agenda when I say anything? What did I want when I was that age? Many, many children are just crying for help. Every misbehavior is their cry to get help. So create that environment with love, but also understand growth means pain. The seed has to break open its outer covering. It's only when we remain in the shell until there is a conducive environment for me to grow. Until then, I protect myself. But create that conducive environment where children will go through heartbreaks, will go through tantrums, will be angry, will be emotional, and all of that is essential. Why do we do so many different kinds of activities with children? Crawl, hop, stand on one foot, bend back, bend forward, lift, flutter like a butterfly, sit, stand, go in circle, go backward. You name it, we do it. That is where we are giving every possible experience for the child. You go for a training, they ask you to close your eyes and walk. It's not just pastime. You have to go through the discomfort of trusting things around you. Just close your eyes and go. And if I can create that environment for my child or my children in school it could be, 2-minute talk where anybody can ask any kind of a question and nobody is going to laugh at them. Nobody is going to make fun of them. Or any child can come to you and ask that question and you will not judge them, label them, blame them, advise. Or a child can write a question, a box, nobody will know what question that was put. There was one very interesting story, in uh, and the teacher had to find out who was the thief. So he made children close their eyes and stand in a circle and moved in a circle a little bit before them. Before in the magic, the angel had given him back the watch, and he handed back the watch to the child who had lost it. And then everything continued as usual. And years later, this was the child who had stolen the watch and written the story. Years later, this child met the teacher and he said, "You know what? You saved my face that day. I would have been so humiliated if you had pointed me out, and I would have been so afraid that people would call me a thief. And I would continue to lie to hide it and to tell you the reasons, but you never asked for any reason. Nobody ever knew that I had stolen. A child who lost it was happy that he got the thing back, and I was also happy, but I was so thankful. I did not even have the courage to thank you then, but I'm thanking you now." And the teacher goes, "I did not know who stole it either. I had my eyes blindfolded too. I did not want to get biased or even have that thought in my mind that, oh, this child stole it." And that was the breaking point, the transformation that happened in the child, now the grown-up man. Am I that pure as an adult in the child space? Have I created that environment where the child can germinate and grow? The seed has to go through the pain. What I can do as part of creating the environment is put that little fence, put that little seed out in place where there is enough sunshine, water it enough, transfer it to another plant when needed, put it in the ground when the sapling is big enough, and have a fence so it doesn't get eaten or blown away by the wind until it has strong roots and strong shoots and it grows on its own independently. Don't we want that for our children? Do we want our children to be dependent on us all the time, entire life. We want them to fly free. But have I given them enough experiences for them to fly free? Or have I protected them like Buddha's father and then expect them to be very mature, able to think that life is precious than this other person who comes and goes? That is again something that I, as an adult, have to think about, have to heal, have to grow. It is not the child. So my questioning would be, why is the child unable to think beyond this person right now? Why is the child thinking this person is their life? Understand that they don't have other options. You could go, yeah, that's fine. He can be your life. Let's look at other options too. Then show interest. Did you meet him? Did you talk to him? Did you feel good? When else do you feel good? The child may say, when I eat ice cream, or when this cousin visits me, or when we watch movie together. Okay, do those things also. Let this be one part of their life, and know that this shall pass. And in some cases, they may stick for life. It may not be infatuation. They may be truly meant for each other. I know several cases of those too. So we as adults don't have to jump into conclusion that all of this is just immaturity or it's just the hormones. All teenagers are like this. Those are all blanket statements. They don't work at all. It's part of our conditioning and belief system. So let us be that adult who understands that this is a passing phase. This is the stage when child requires the most of our support unconditionally, in an unbiased way, without we fluctuating like teenagers, with us being supremely grounded, with us working on ourselves, with us becoming worthy of imitation. We are loving authority for them. They can look up to us. We can be their role models. When I have created that, I really don't have to worry. Whatever the child goes through is a good experience that they will learn from, and they'll be thankful to you for letting them experience that few years down the road. Pain is inevitable, but know which pain I have to go. Am I going through that pain alone, or do I have fallback? I mean, right now we all are waking up at 5:45. I mean, earlier than that to log in. That's definitely a pain for some of us. But unless we put in that effort, we cannot expect any change in us. And when children see us putting this effort, we definitely will influence them in some mysterious, unknown, indirect ways. And that's the environment we are talking about creating. I end here with this. Any questions?